Hey everybody, it is Miss Amira back with another fun activity. So our activity for today is called time travel. So if you guys are ready to get started, let's jump right in. So for today's activity, all you're gonna need is a pen, pencil, marker, crayon, whatever you wanna write with, and a piece of paper. It can be lined paper, it can be a blank piece of paper, whatever you'd like. All right, so let's get started with our community builder. So our community builder for today is called Talents and Hobbies. So I want you to think about a special talent that you have or a hobby that you enjoy. So maybe you're a great artist or a dancer, or maybe you like to do origami or even watch anime movies. So let's really quickly write down 5 to 10 things that are either a hobby, a special talent, or just something that you enjoy. So I'm gonna write down some things. So for hobbies, I like to play the ukulele. I like to sew, play video games. Let's see, ride my bike. It's actually kind of funny because the example was origami, and I actually do like to do origami. And I'm gonna write 6 things. And one more thing, I like to read. All right, so hopefully you guys have written down a list, or maybe even you have a list in your head. Now, excuse me, now what I want you to do is to label that list now. So kind of like that. Excuse my handwriting, but that's our now list. So do you think that these talents and hobbies are things that people did 100 years ago? So 100 years ago, it was 1920. So do you think in 1920, people were, let's look at my list, for example, playing ukulele or video games? So what I want you to do is I want you to circle things on your list that you think that people were doing 100 years ago. We're gonna title that list Then. So I think 100 years ago, people were sewing, they were reading, but I don't think that they were playing video games or origami. They probably were riding bikes. I'm not 100% sure when bikes were invented, but that kind of gives you like an insight on how things might have been different back then compared to now. All right, so today we are going to explore how the past compares to life today and kind of imagine the future and how it's going to be different from now. So our world is very different today than it even was 50 years ago. So we're going to start by taking a look at a video called Long Ago and Now so that we can kind of get an insight. All right, guys.
Long ago, children helped take care of their family. They were responsible for feeding the animals, getting water, cooking meals, and looking after younger siblings. Children had to work on their farm, or if they lived in a city, they had to help provide food for their families by working in mines, factories, or selling newspapers. Today, children may have to do a few chores, like the dishes or take out the trash. But today's children also get much more free time than children did long ago. Today, children have free time to read books, play outside, play video games, or play with their friends. Most children in the United States don't have to worry about earning money to feed their family, and many are not responsible for cooking dinner each night. When children finished their many chores long ago, they had time to play. Some of the games that children played in the past are similar to games we play today. Children enjoyed playing tag and hide and seek and leapfrog. They also played with yo-yos, jacks, and marbles. These are called traditional games, games that are played without many pieces. With traditional games, you learn how to play by watching other children play and making up new rules. School long ago was very different than it is today. Early on, there were no buildings where children went to school, only one-room schoolhouses in small towns. All the grades went to school in the same classroom. Eventually, if you lived in a city, you would go to a bigger school where all the grades went to school in one building. A big difference between back then and now is that children didn't have pencil and paper to write. They wrote on slates like a little chalkboard. Now we have pencil and paper where we can write down all of our schoolwork. When houses were first built in the United States, the house only had one room. The entire family lived in the same room.
Can you guys imagine that?
Meals were also cooked on one pot over an open flame in the center of the house on a cook stove. How people move from one place to another is called transportation. People used to travel by walking or by using a horse and a wagon. Now we travel from place to place using a car or a bus or other ways. Now we have many new inventions also. We have smartphones, iPads, computers, microwaves, electricity, and so many other things that make our lives easier from long ago.
All right. So can you guys imagine how life was back then when they said things like you all lived in one room together with your family, or how all the grades were in the same room together for school? So what are some of the ways that the video showed how life today is different from long ago? So kind of like the examples that I just said, think back on the video and what were some of the other things, how we're doing this activity using a pen and paper. And in the video, they said that they use things like slates, so chalkboards and chalk. It's really interesting, and that wasn't really even that long ago. So sometimes the world changes drastically because of the groundbreaking inventions. What might some of these inventions be? So let's brainstorm and think about some of the top inventions that might have changed the world. So this is kind of a fun one. So I'm gonna write 10 things down. I want you guys, feel free to pause the video and you guys can think of 10 things on your own, or we can follow along together. So I'm gonna write down 10 things. 8, 9, 10, that I think might have changed the world. So I think the invention of, let's say, electricity / light bulbs, the telephone, the automobile, ooh, trains, because trains were really big before cars were big. All right, let's see, I only have 4, let's think. I said telephones. This one's funny, or not funny, but I think gas, maybe when gas was invented, because then people cooked on gas stoves and they heated their homes with gas. The sewing machine, because it probably made the production of clothing and goods quicker. Let's see, we need 4 more. Hopefully you guys are thinking of some things that I can't think of. The wheel, although I think I might be thinking too far back now. Let's see, we have electricity, telephone, automobile, train, gas, sewing machine, wheel, let's say paper, we need 2 more. We said cars. This is a little harder than I think. Well, maybe I'll stop at 8. All right, so we have our list. Hopefully you guys have your list. Now we're gonna check out the top 10 inventions that have changed the world. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna compare them to the list that we've created. All right, so here are our top 10 most important inventions. So number 1 is the steam engine. So although the first version of the steam engine dates back to the 3rd century AD, it was not until the turn of the 19th century and the advent of the industrial age that a modern form of the internal combustion engine came to exist. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully you guys can see that, the steam engine. Oh, okay, so look, I had one right, the wheel. The idea of a symmetrical component moving in circular motions on an axis has existed since ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Europe separately in different time periods. All right, so I'm going to check that one off on my list, the wheel. Oh, this is a good one, the printing press. Now, I think I kind of was going in a similar direction. I said paper, but the printing press was used to print things, so like newspapers and stuff like that. The computer, that was one that I did not put on my list. That's funny. The internet, so those are two big things. And even the World Wide Web. So that's something I didn't know. The internet and the World Wide Web are two different things. I always thought that the World Wide Web was the internet. All right, number 7, television. I don't think I put that one down either. I think I was thinking of maybe slightly too old things. Light bulb, I got that under electricity. Penicillin, that's a good one. So penicillin is used to fight infections. It's what's in shots that help you get better. And the telephone, so I got that one too. So I had 3 out of 8, that's pretty good. Hopefully you guys got some right as well. All right, so do you agree or disagree with this list? Do you think that there might be more important things that have been invented? Or do you kind of like agree with the list and think that, oh, those are the exact things that have changed the world? All right, so how do you think the world might be different 100 years from now? So in 2120, what do you think, how do you think people will live, work, and play? So what kind of inventions do you think will be developed in the next 100 years that are going to transform the world? So for this one, you guys can either draw a picture or you can write a list like we've been doing, but try to think of an invention that you think will be invented over the next 100 years that's going to change the way that we live our lives. So I think I'm gonna draw a picture very quickly. Of course, feel free to pause the video if you need to. But I think one of the big things that we are going to have is, I feel like we're already working towards this, but a type of virtual reality FaceTime. So we kind of have our smartwatches already on our arms. And on that, it projects out into this cool, like, virtual platform where you can see the person. Maybe I'm thinking too sci-fi movie right now. But there have been inventions kind of, I feel like we're working towards this. So my drawing's a little silly, but we have our virtual watch on our arms that projects out and then we can see the people. So imagine you go to take a FaceTime call, I guess, and you look at your watch and it projects out and you can see the person there. So I think that would be a kind of cool invention for 100 years from now. Hopefully you guys thought of some really cool inventions and have probably drawn a better drawing than I have. All right, everyone. So that's all I have for us today. As always, make sure that you follow the My Future link below. Your activity for this activity is called Personal Journey. And there you're going to find out how the real life heroes face their challenges. So as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. And we will see you guys later. Bye, everyone.